program. We planted 2 tulip poplars up there. Those kids are, as Councilman Brennan just mentioned, they're going to drive by that school every day for the rest of their lives, some of them, and know that they planted those trees. I want to thank everybody here for coming out here to talk about these trees. I wanted to say a little bit about the program real quick. This program was started by Miss Susie Hayward many years ago to recognize trees in the city. Trees that have had a benefit to the neighborhoods that they're in, be it an economic, be it a community, or even just you swung in that tree in previous years. So with that being said, it is my pleasure to welcome you all here and to help you guys celebrate the trees that mean something to each and every one of you who are here. So without further ado, I will now turn it over to Miss Susie Hayward, who will be presenting these certificates to the various people who have been nominated and awarded this year.
Thank you. Where's the word for my water? I may have to grab that. For the reading. You're going to give them to them, right?
Yes.
Good. I do want to thank you so much for being here. We were trying to figure out how old the program is. I actually started this program because Asheville had a calendar back in the 90s before we did away with calendars because of our phones. Asheville had a gorgeous calendar of trees, the treasured trees. And I was on the Columbia Green Board, and I kept saying, I want to do that. And Al Barnett, who was one of my cohorts on the executive committee, said, Susie, we've got to get a backlog of trees before we can even think about that. And that's how we started Treasured Trees. I went to see the girl in Asheville who was head of it, and she was wonderful. She was quite a dynamic person. And that's how I brought it to Columbia. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got something I need to read off of here. So I need to have the phone here, I apologize. I wanted to open with a little, there's several sayings on here on the program about people like John Muir and Frank Lloyd Wright, wonderful people, Genesis, that have about trees. But this hit me because I was reading this up in the mountains as I was watching the leaves fall. This was on the internet, and I don't know the name of who actually started it. I asked the leaf whether it was frightened because it was autumn and the other leaves were starting to fall. The leaf told me, no, during the duration of the whole spring and summer, I was completely alive. I worked hard to help nourish the tree. And I am not limited to this form. Much of me is in that tree. I worked hard. I am also the whole tree. I will go back into the soil where I will continue to nourish the tree. So I don't worry at all about it. As I leave the tree and float, as I leave this branch and float to the ground, I will wave to the tree and tell her, I will see you again soon. I just thought that was a really neat thing. So now I will turn this phone off, if I can. Or maybe the ringer. Don't let it ring. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's get down to the awards. And, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't have a whole lot of light here. This is at 1829 Senate Street. It's a swamp chestnut oak. And I do love these trees. There are some on, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Am I too loud? Okay. I'll just tell you that there are 2 swamp chestnuts that are already treasured trees that are on Wheat Street in the first block up from Han, going away from Five Points. So I just think they're wonderful trees. So I'm really glad that Howard Duvall spotted this one. It's a swamp chestnut, Quercus Can you help me here? I'm bad on the Latin names. McShuxy. And by the way, I'm a biology major, so I have no excuse for this. The habitat, they're commonly found in bottomlands, floodplains, especially in moist, well-drained soils. But we've seen that they do well as street trees. And this one is probably is this in the median of Senate?
Yes.
Okay, so it's got a little more room, but those two on Wheat Street don't have as much room, and they've done wonderfully. They typically grow 65 feet tall, but can reach higher heights in ideal conditions. Leaves are large, broad, with a red color in the fall. The acorns are quite large, up to 1.5 inches, and are edible by both wildlife and humans. Sometimes roast them and also use them as livestock feed. That I didn't know. The wood is very strong and durable, often used for furniture and flooring. This species is sometimes referred to as rock oak, as is its ability to grow in rocky soils, though in South Carolina it is most often associated with swampy areas. And it was nominated by Howard Duvall. And Howard has been a champion of trees for years. He was, here you are, former council member and former head of the appearance, and the appearance commission, and the municipal association, and mayor of Chiro.
Susie said a lot of nice words about the swamp chestnut tree, but let me tell you a couple more things about it. We measured the diameter of the tree by using the circumference and dividing by pi, and came up with it was almost 4.5 feet in diameter. Ran that through the calculations, and the tree is over 200 years old. It's about at least 229 years old. If you go back in your history of the city of Columbia was laid out by John Ginyard in 1787. To me, this makes this tree one of the first street trees in Columbia, because it had to have been put there right in the middle of the median and not in the swamp. So they were moved to that particular location. And I think that I'm going to challenge Brian and his new forester here to look around the city and see if we can identify by the size of the tree some of the other trees that might have been planted 200 years ago when John Ginyard laid out the city of Columbia. I appreciate the honor of this, and we're going to put up a big sign and neon and everything. Look at our tree, look at our tree.
Well, if you can figure out how without nailing it to it, that's the problem we've had. We don't want to hurt the trees, but we really want to put a plaque on them.
This is right in front of the Heritage on Senate Street. So if you go to the Senate Street and go up to where it goes into Gregg Street, you'll see this beautiful tree. It's also a survivor of electrification. The power lines go right through the middle of it, and they've got a nice horseshoe cut out in there. So it shows that we can adapt to modern times.
Thank you, Howard. Okay, the next one is at 4201 Blossom Street. It's a southern red oak. We got a good variety this time. We really do. The southern red oak, Quercus felicatia, located at the residential property at 4201 Blossom Street, which is at Calmia Drive, is in Sherwood Forest neighborhood. Its estimated age is 80 years old. The circumference is 95 inches. It is 8 feet around at the trunk base. 8 feet. That's pretty big. I'm going to go ride by and see this tree. I didn't get to do that this year. The estimated height is 150 feet. Why is she deserving? This majestic, erect red oak lives and breathes and serves as our friend and significant shade canopy due to her very close proximity to the 1938 residence building and pool deck. By virtue of her health, this looks like a gorgeous tree. By virtue of her health, She survived Hugo in 1989. Her abundant autumn leaf drop, which we chop, delivers 12 months of delicious, nutrition to the red earthworms residing in our 40-foot compost system. These castings add year-round soil vitality to the red oak sister plants across the 0.33 acre landscape garden, including a large lantana grove as specified in 1995 by Mary T. Dial Design. And it looks like that's a beautiful Miss Huff, I would think. So is somebody here for this was nominated by Leela and Patrick Mason.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much. I love that you love that tree. Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm definitely riding by to see it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that lantana looks beautiful too. Now we're back on Kalmia Drive. Yep, we're still on Kalmia Drive. It's an honor for the Sherwood Forest Neighborhood Association and the long-term property owner, Mr. Lyman Munson, to nominate our 75-year-old, 90-foot tall, 80-inch trunk, Magnolia grandiflora. Her Majesty adorns one of the 5 right-of-way corners atop the Kalmia Drive as she glazes down over her 110 hardwood cousins, flourishing inside the 9-acre USC Belsa Arboretum. While slightly lonely because her home building has been empty for a decade, love pours on her from the 600 residents and visitors walking and rolling through Sherwood Forest. All appreciate her annual splendor of 12-inch white fragrant flowers by the hundreds, and we even keep her low-hanging limbs, locks, trimmed cute. Nominated by Patrick Mason.
Get part of the picture.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Forest. Here we go. Oh, in front of the podium. In front of the podium. There we go.
Or love your forest.
No, Sherwood. Yeah, exactly.
I think one with each. We might need to squeeze in though.
We could do that. Good photo op.
And how about this? I love this
The
too.
other side. There we go. Love your forest.
Promoting trees. All right, here we go.
I do have to add just an appendix to the storyline here. On Halloween evening, we had our neighborhood party, and there was a 12-year-old Spider-Man who managed to make it to the top of that magnolia tree.
Oh boy, I love that.
Dropping candy out of his pockets every which way he went.
Thank you. I think that one of the reasons I love trees so much is I spent most of my childhood with my grandmother because my mother was busy, and my grandmother really loved to switch me. And there was a great big magnolia in their yard, and I could get to the top of it and wait until my granddaddy got home, and she wouldn't let him touch me. He wouldn't let her touch me. So it saved my life many times. So I made it to the top all the time. Okay, now we're on Carter Hill Drive, 4620 Carter Hill Drive. It's a Japanese maple, which I love. I've got one of those too. My husband planted this Japanese maple, Acer palmatium, as a 3-foot sapling over 10 years ago. As you note in the picture, it reaches the roof today. It is a joy to watch it change colors and seeds throughout the season from our kitchen table. In fact, it seems to change through the day as the light hits it. It has been the home of many birds, and it shades our house from light and searing heat of the summer. In fact, our neighborhood is cooler due to the number of trees. Recently, my next-door neighbor, who views the tree from the her kitchen window, inquired about the type of tree it was. She said she's thinking of getting a treasured tree of her own. Now, I will tell you, one of my... Are y'all here? Is anybody here? Eleanor Grander? We'll get it to her. Is that she coming up? Okay.
The next one is 3.
The 3, okay. Okay, so it's 3 together. Okay. At Confederate and Bull, we have 3 different beautiful trees: a Magnolia grandiflora, a flowering dogwood, and a Confederate, and a water oak. This is all at Confederate and Bull. This magnolia, we believe a southern magnolia, closest to the corner of Bull and Confederate Avenue, approximately 12 feet in circumference and 183 years old. The tree is simply beautiful in shape, with deep green leaves and limbs reaching the ground. We often see deer in the north end of Cottontown, and in the low, dense limbs would provide shelter for wildlife, especially important with all the development going on in the area. This lovely tree provides an appropriate southern welcome to people coming in on the I-277 corridor. The second one of the 3 is a flowering dogwood, somewhat diseased, close to Bull Street and north of the southern magnolia, approximately 85 inches in circumference. Now that's a huge dogwood. That's big. And 81 years old. The tree is abundant with flowers in spring, colorful leaves, and red seeds in the fall. With the dead and diseased limbs removed, this would be a beautiful tree and again is part of the southern landscape. There's also a water oak that's 103 inches in circumference and 102.4 years old. All 3 trees are located at the corner of Confederate and Bull Street at the site of the former Confederate soldiers' home, and part of the cemetery for unclaimed bodies from the South Carolina Lunatic Asylum, which is later known as the State Hospital. We believe that this site is significant because they are situated at the Confederate Soldiers' Home, where the Confederate Soldiers' Home was located, and housed Civil War veterans and widows of Civil War soldiers. We further believe that these trees are significant because of their age, size, and shape, overall health, despite the disease on the dogwood. They need some trimming, but are all beautiful in terms of color, aesthetic value to this main portal of the capital city. The land has historic significance, and the trees are part of the history of South Carolina and the South Carolina Mental Health Department. Mr. Mark Blinkley, J.D., is in favor of this nomination, nominated by Denise Wellman. Thank you so much.
I think when you said these trees are a part of me, I'll use a poetic license here, these trees are a part of us. And I think about those people that are buried underneath where
No kidding.
These trees are, and they deserve to be protected. So
They do. They do. I will tell you, unfortunately, being a treasured tree does not provide protection. I wish it did. I've worked and worked to get that, but I have not been successful. But maybe Will can help me.
Is the city willing to trim them off, though?
That is on the state property, so you'd have to get with the mental health department.
I'll tell you, when that was the state hospital, that was an arboretum. And I mean, they really have some significantly beautiful trees there. I walked the site with Dick Thrace, who used to be the assistant forester, or assistant head of the department, and we tagged and labeled a lot of them back then. I'm sure that's long gone, because that was, but okay, we have a tulip poplar, one of my absolute favorite trees because they grow so fast and they're so strong. And it is at 165 Columnwood Circle. My son's second grade class celebrated Arbor Day, and each child was given a tree to plant. It was actually a twig about 8 inches long. He was so proud to bring it home, telling us that he wanted to plant it. As a typical parent, we were very busy. We told him we were busy right now and we'd plant it soon. About a month later, my husband discovered the twig in the storage shed. He showed it to me and our hearts sank. We only had full custody of him for 6 months, and we were trying to do all we could to help him heal from the trauma of his previous 5 years. When we had failed miserably on this account. We took the twig outside with our son and chose a good location, praying that it would grow. We prepared him and ourselves in the event that it wouldn't. Lo and behold, a few weeks later, it sprouted and continued to grow into this gorgeous tree it is now. It is the loveliest tree in our neighborhood and brings joy to us every time we see it turn into our driveway. It is a true inspiration of never giving up. It's nominated by Sarah Jane Byers. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We had
That is a wonderful story.
it is a wonderful story, and every time we see that tree, it reminds us. Our son lives in Greenville with his family, and he's 40 now, or will be in about a week and a half. And he didn't know we were doing this, and we asked him to come down for this, but his 2 girls had missed too many days of school for other things already, so he couldn't come, but he has seen the pictures, and we're going to give him this. But
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is a wonderful story. I just think it's precious. Okay, and I think this is our last one, right? Yes. Okay, this is at 854 Galway Lane, and it's a willow oak, and I think this is on the campus of Hammond? Yes. It's on the campus of Hammond. Okay, this is really small writing, so please excuse me if I'm squinting here and.
If y'all would like to come up and tell the story.
If you want to tell the story, you're welcome to. It's a wonderful story. And I'm sure you can tell it better than I can read. See how small that is?
I know.
And I don't have any reading glasses.
I can do
He
this
blew it up,
easily.
but he went from there to there.
All right, I'm going to read it because it'll make it faster. My future husband and I spent our first date in the top of this tree eating sub sandwiches in the hot breeze. We were younger then, but not young. I finally had found a tree climber like myself, and I fell in love for the first time at age 45 after walking in Congaree with him and his summer camp students that morning. Was it the tree that made me fall in love, that is? Or the canoe trip on Cedar Creek where we watched a dragonfly nymph shed its skin and grow its wings? Well, if it was the canoe on the creek, the seed was surely planted earlier in the day in this mother tree. That summer we spent long hours with long strands of cotton rope fashioning a South American-style hammock, which he tied into the top of that tree. It was my own nest in the summer breezes. We worked together, building our lives ever since that summer, tying knots with our shared experiences, many of which happened under or around that tree. In the quarter century since then, I have enjoyed Tom's school life at Hammond, all taking place in the shadow of the mother tree. In this, his 37th year as naturalist in residence at that school. We were in her shadow, which stands majestically between the storied football field bleachers and the track and all that is natural at Tom Mankey's nature cabin on the lower campus of this very sports-driven school. In the shadow of that tree and cabin, nestled within a rustic fence, the kids get to shed the trappings of modern technology and competitiveness and are bathed in nature, whether they meet there to walk in the lovely woods of the back campus or use their original digital technology, their fingers, to fashion cordage or make a string bag or a basket with pine needles or grapevine, learning the ancient skills. Over a child's span of pre-K to 12th grade and their later returns to visit and or introduce their own children into this school, the mother tree is emblematic of the peace residing in that little space at Hammond, as well as respect and love for Earth and each other.
It's a neat tree.
It was lovely. That is lovely. I'm going to ride out there and visit that tree.
Can we get a picture?
Yeah,
Jimmy, are you taking a picture?
You hold this, Jennifer. You wrote all that.
and it was beautifully written. You must be an English teacher.
No, I love to write.
Well, you're quite a writer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all for Thank you for nominating it. And it was a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Beautiful story.
It has been a beautiful story.
Now, if I may ask you all, every spring I put on my Facebook page, please go around and take pictures of the flowering trees. Please do this, please do that. And I talk about this on my Facebook page all the time, and people forget. And if they take that picture, I think they forget to nominate it because our nominations don't start until September. Yes. So if you think about it, if you see a tree, even if it's all the leaves are gone and the architectural form just knocks you out, it's so beautiful. If you would take a picture and kind of put it on your calendar to send in a nomination, I would really appreciate it. I think we all would. But thank you so much, everyone, and we really appreciate your participation.